Hi everyone, hope you're all doing good. Okay, so this is the sixth round draw for the 37th edition of the Tapology Lucky Bastard Game. In the last round, we had five people in it, and after a very weak performance from the wheel last week, we have four people left in for this sixth round. So let's just remind ourselves who those four people are. They are Love Song, Rigno, Shat, and the Dirty UFC Man. So it's going to be obviously a shorter video than most of them, but obviously, given we're getting towards the business end of it, just to remind um, remind you what's at stake here. Obviously, if um, two or more of you have winning fighters in this round, then they'll go on to a seventh round. If obviously only one of you has a winning fighter, then of course then they'll be declared the winner, and we go on to a new game. And of course, worst case scenario, if you all have losing fighters, the wheel is declared the winner, which we really don't want to happen in this game. But anyway, we'll get to that later. We'll see how likely that is in approximately, I'd say, about 20 minutes or so. See what outcome's more likely. But for this round, we have UFC Fight Nights. Uh, Bilal Muhammad versus Gabriel Bonfim. And it's interesting sort of matchup because you got Bilal Muhammad, who was former champion, of course, and very dominant wrestler, very tough to beat. But then, almost out of nowhere, went on two-fight losing streak against obviously Ian Machado, Gary, and Daniel Duplessis. But it's those are still two high-level losses in the division, and they're still you can't really. I wouldn't say you can really take that away from him too much. It's they were surprising losses, but they're not bad losses. Is what I'm trying to say. And of course, this provides an opportunity for Gabriel Bonfim uh, to try and make a name for himself against the former champion, as I've mentioned, and really try and cement himself as a contender in the welterweight division. But personally, I still think that Bilal Muhammad's got a bit too much class, a bit too much ability. So, uh, yes, Bonfilm's got the sort of submission threat. That's his main route to victory. If he's going to get a win, he'll have to try and submit Bilal Muhammad. But I think, as I mentioned, Muhammad's wrestling is just too dominant for me to see that happening. So I'm going with Bilal Muhammad for a decision win here. But of course, you're not here to listen to me rambling. You're here to see who you're going to get drawn with. So without further ado, just make sure you're on the right screen. Yep. And first up is Love Song. Let's see how Love Song gets on. And Love Song gets Ariane Carnelossi. Butchered that one. Ariane Carnelossi there for Love Song. Won't have to wait too long to find out his fate. But being one of the first fighters actually is the first fight against Ketlin Souza. Just try and focus on the spelling here. Carnelossi. Let's see. There we go. Try and spell it right if I can. But yeah, that's first fight on the card, that one, and bit of an underdog to say the least at the moment. But obviously coming off of loss last time against Salisa Alencar, got submitted in that one. But again, Alencar's a pretty good grappler. She's done loads of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu stuff outside of the UFC. So again, I'm not going to say that's a big end of the world loss or anything like that. Um, yeah, like I say, just been a little bit too inconsistent though. And Sousa, on the other hand, coming off that very good win over Bruna Brazil. I believe. I think I actually picked Brazil to win in that one last time, but obviously I was wrong for that. But in doing so, also broke her two-fight losing streak. But so she's turned a corner in her recent form, but trying to see, make an argument for Carnelossi, but uh, to be honest, I can't see. I think Sousa's going to win a unanimous decision here. I think it's going to be yeah, pretty straightforward. Um, both fighters are roughly similar skill level, I'd say, but just going on form, Sousa just a slightly better of the two as of late. Maybe Carnelossi can pull out one of her famous knockouts that she's known for. That could probably be a tactic actually. Maybe try to finish the fight early, stop Sousa trying to get into the fight, get any momentum going. Because I think if Sousa's going to win, it'll be by the judges. But so maybe Carnelossi will come out swinging early, trying to put a stop to that. But unfortunately for a love song, I think Sousa's going to win this. So not the best start, not completely out of it, but not ideal. Okay, next is Rigno. Let's see who Rigno is going to be matched with for tomorrow night's action. Bruno Silva. Uh, Bruno Silva there for Rigno. Significantly easier name uh, to type out, that's for sure. And obviously he's up against Edger Charreras, who, and again, I've picked Charreras to win by a submission for this one, although that is a bit of a bold take on my part, I reckon. A real pick and fight, real 50-50 one. Bruno Silva, very well rounded, shown a full, shown time and again he can finish fights both by submission and by knockout. He can go the distance too if needed. So Bruno Silva should be able to handle himself in most situations. But I have been impressed by Torres' grappling though, and that is his primary weapon coming into this, in my opinion. So maybe it's a little bit optimistic, but with submissions, all it takes is just to get trapped once, and if you can't work your way out of that, the fight's over in seconds. Um, I've gone back and forth a few times on this, and for me, it's either a Silva win by decision or Torres win by submission. And I'm leaning towards the Torres by submission at the moment, to tell the truth. Not confident in that at all, when I wouldn't be confident in this fight at all, because it is possibly, in terms of the odds anyway, the closest one on the card, I'd imagine. Uh, so, yeah, Rigno's in a real 50-50 one there, but best of luck to him. That's all I can say for that. Is no way of telling which way that one's going to swing. Um, so yeah, best of luck for that. Right, next, Shat. Let's see who Shat is going to be paired with. Chelsea Chandler. Chelsea Chandler for Shat there. So always got a bit of a soft spot for her actually. I only remember when she was getting first really took notice of her after she was getting clowned for a loss to Normanton one where she sort of ran away from for a few seconds, and all the memes on the internet were labeling her as Cinderella Chandler. And but no, it's she's a fighter I've got a soft spot for, although have to be realistic. I think her opponent, Priscilla Cacareia, which again, apologies for butchering the pronunciation of that, is going to win this one. The odds makers have got it quite close actually, which I don't agree with. I think that Cacareia should be a heavier favourite than she is. Um, and it's a must-win fight for both of them. Quite interesting. They're both actually coming off of on a two-fight losing streak, so they both need wins quickly to turn their fortunes around. And for me, it's just a case of which one's going to be able to sort of dig in the best uh, it, when the pressure gets going. And for me, I think it's the experience of uh, Kakore. I'm going to try and pronounce that right at least once in this video. Is is going to be the one of the main dominant factors of this fight because when you're in a fight where you need to get a win and your opponent needs to get a win and there's a lot of stake, remaining calm under pressure is crucial. And yeah, I think she's got more experience to do that. Um, More fights under her belt. And she has also proven as well that even though I can't see her knocking out Chandler, I think Chandler's defense is too good for that. But and her footwork. But I think but Kakure has shown that she has knockout power as well to end fights in an instant. Um, if it comes to it. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I think Shat's going to need a fair bit of luck here. But not quite sure why the odds makers have it that close actually. But I hope they're right and hope that Chandler has more of a chance than I'm giving her credit for. But Shat certainly be hoping that as well. And finally, we're on to the dirty UFC man. Let's see who the dirty UFC man is going to be paired with. John Yanis for the dirty UFC man. John Yanis there for John. Uh, yes, John Yanis is obviously well, where are we on the sheet? Up against Marcus McGee, of course, at bantamweight, and McGee coming off that knockout loss to uh, not knockout loss. No, it wasn't knockout. Why do I think it was a knockout? It was decision actually. To Petr Yan. Sorry, I misspoke there. It was a unanimous decision win there for Petr Yan. I completely misremember there. But again, just because it shows he's not necessarily quite at contender level at bantamweight, he's um, still a force to be reckoned with in that division. And he's a heavy favourite. Uh, McGee, that is, by the way, I'm talking about, just in case anyone's losing track. Just sort of get the worst of it out of the way first, and rightly so, if I'm being honest. Um, I can see Yanis stopping. I can see McGee stopping Yanis rather. Sorry, and I'm trying to think if Yanis is going to beat McGee, how is it most likely going to be? He's got knockout power himself, but I think McGee's power is superior. Um, yeah, I just can't really reasonably think of any particular way besides a puncher's chance. I really don't think how John Yanis wins this one, if I'm being completely honest. So this is the first, well, or the only one of the four where I can say I don't think the fighter is going to win at all. the others at least have a chance. But even if I don't rate their chances, but yeah, for me, Marcus McGee is a pretty yeah, like I say, pretty big favourite. Should be too, and I can see Marcus McGee finishing in probably second round. I'd say second round knockout for McGee's my prediction. Going to be a violent fight one way or another because I think if Yanis is going to win, he'd have to rely on his striking as well. But that is, as I mentioned just now, McGee's going to be more than comfortable engaging in a striking fight. He'll happily lie there. That's what he'll want actually. So yeah, that's not a great one to be frank for the dirty UFC man, unfortunately. Okay, so that concludes the where are we now? Sixth round um for the 37th edition of the Tapology Lucky Bastard game, and a bit of mixed bundle there. Um, there are two that I would consider Carnelossi and Chandler. They are the two that I would say are slight underdogs. Rigno, Bruno Silva, that's a complete 50-50. And the dirty UFC man, I don't think is going through with Johnny Ennis, if I'm being completely honest. So my take on this, there's a real chance that we're either going to. I'm going to say we're probably going to. If anyone's going to win, it probably be Rigno's probably got the best chance. But I can see a scenario where all of you go out. In which case the wheel would be declared the winner. I hope I'm wrong, and I hope that at least one of you uh, has a winning fighter so that we can, well, either carry on this game or start a new one with a legitimate winner rather than having the wheel be declared the winner. But yeah, there's realistically, I suppose, all things considered, we've got about three close fights and one that, um, yeah, one that yeah, sorry to UFC man to keep banging on about it, but one that I really can't see how you're gonna get through besides Lucky Punch. Uh, so I mean, it could be a case that we end up with those three close fights getting flipped, and we end up with three going through, which would be quite neat, wouldn't it? Going down from five and then four, then three, in terms of the elimination process. But this is completely up in the air, really, in terms of what could happen. But yeah, just to run over those results one more time officially, for those of you who follow this just by skipping to the end of the video and just um and just seeing who's been drawn with who, because I know people do that and I don't blame them because I wouldn't want to listen to my rambles either. But it's Love Song with Ariane Carnelossi, Rigno with Bruno Silva, Shat with Chelsea Chandler, and the Dirty UFC Man with John Yanis. So yeah, not much more I can say to that other than best of luck to you four, and best of luck to everyone watching this video if you for your picks on Tapology, and if you got any bets on this card, good luck with those. But until next time, whether it's with a new game or whether it's continuation of this one, so long for now.